Chosen one. Listen closely. The strange delay that has surrounded your life has not come to destroy you, but to awaken you. You have felt the pause, the heaviness, the stillness that seems to press against every dream and every plan. It is as if time itself has been stretched, and you are caught between the promise and the fulfillment. You ask, "Why is nothing moving?" But heaven answers, "Because my hand has held you still for such a time as this." Dub, you are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. The very fact that you are hearing this message is proof that you are set apart. While others may rush ahead, you have been forced to stop, to wait, to be still. This is not punishment, it is preparation. The world tells you delay means defeat, but God whispers that delay means alignment. Delay means He is working in realms you cannot see, arranging divine encounters, preparing breakthroughs that will not only bless you but shake generations after you. Every chosen one must walk through this holy pause. You feel the frustration, the sleepless nights, the prayers that echo back without answer. Yet, even in silence, heaven has been busy. You have been tested, refined, pressed down so that you may rise unshakable. The delay is the proof that your destiny is too great to be rushed. It must be sealed in patience, rooted in faith, and watered with tears. The Word of God declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 46, verse 10, "Be still, and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." In your stillness, God is establishing His glory. In your waiting, He is exalting His name through your life. So do not despise this delay. It is strange because it is divine. It interrupts your rhythm because it was never about your timing but His. The delay proves you are marked, chosen, set apart for something that eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and hearts cannot yet imagine. Chosen one. Take this as your sign. Heaven has paused everything around you to speak directly to your spirit. You are not where you are by accident. The delay itself is the evidence that divine timing is upon you. What felt like a setback is the stage for your unveiling. What looked like stagnation is the soil of your acceleration. Pause for a moment and acknowledge this truth. If you had rushed into what you wanted when you wanted it, you would not have been ready. God's delay is mercy. God's delay is love. God's delay is alignment. And now, the very fact that you are still standing, still listening, still believing, proves that you are God's chosen one. Before we move further, I ask you, if this word is speaking to your spirit, if you feel the confirmation burning inside of you, then take a step of faith. Like, share, and subscribe, so this message can reach more of God's chosen ones who feel stuck in delay but are about to step into divine timing. And as a prophetic act, write in the comments the number 777 to declare, "I align with God's perfect timing." This is not coincidence. This is not random. This is divine. You are here because heaven wanted you here. Chosen one. You have stood before doors that looked promising, yet they would not open no matter how hard you pushed. Opportunities slipped through your fingers. Jobs fell apart. Relationship dissolved. And the very path you thought was meant for you was suddenly blocked. At first, you thought you were cursed, overlooked, or abandoned. But heaven speaks. Those doors were shut by design. Not every open path is your path. Not every opportunity is meant to carry you forward. What you called rejection was divine redirection. God closed. What you could not see would harm you. He withheld what looked good, but was not best. He blocked paths where the end would have been destruction. Even if the beginning looked like blessing, understand this: rejection in the hands of man feels bitter. But redirection in the hands of God leads to glory. Look back at those closed doors. Remember how much you cried, how confused you felt, how angry you were when things did not work out. Yet now, standing where you are, you can see glimpses of why it had to happen. If that door had opened, you would have been tied to people not aligned with your destiny. If that opportunity had gone through, it would have consumed your spirit and drained your anointing. If that relationship had remained, it would have kept you bound when God meant to set you free. God's hand was in the refusal. You were never meant to enter by every door you knocked on. Some doors, though polished, are traps. Some doors, though wide, lead to darkness. And so, heaven allowed them to slam shut in your face, not to punish you, but to preserve you. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 34, verse 19. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. Those closed doors were part of your deliverance. They were escapes disguised as disappointments. Chosen one. This is why you must shift your perspective. Stop mourning over what would not open. Stop resenting the people who turned you away. Stop questioning your worth because of doors that did not receive you. The rejection you faced was proof that you are too valuable to be wasted in lesser places. Your destiny required redirection. Every chosen one must endure this season. You will be misunderstood. Others will get opportunities you thought belonged to you. They will run ahead, laughing, while you are left behind in silence. But remember this: when you finally step through the door heaven has carved just for you, you will not have to strive. That door will swing open with ease because it was designed for your name, your anointing, your purpose. Do not be deceived by appearances. A closed door is not God's absence, it is His fingerprint. Every denial is a hidden mercy. Every shut path is a signal that something greater is waiting. You are not being held back. You are being rerouted to the place where your light will not be dimmed and your calling will not be wasted. Chosen one. Hear this: the doors that refuse to open are not a verdict of failure, but the announcement that divine timing has not yet aligned, and when it does, you will see why the delay and the redirection were necessary. Chosen one. The weight of waiting can feel unbearable. You know what it is to kneel down in prayer, pour your heart out, and rise again only to face the same silence. You have cried until no tears were left. Yet the heavens did not seem to move. The clock ticks forward, but your promise stands still. You wake up with hope, but night falls again without breakthrough. The crushing silence is not easy to endure. It feels like abandonment. It feels like punishment. But it is neither. This weight is not meant to destroy you, but to shape you. God is not ignoring you. He is anchoring you. In the silence, He is teaching you what cannot be learned in noise: endurance, trust, and unshakable faith. When the answer is delayed, your roots must go deeper. When the fulfillment is hidden, your spirit must cling tighter. It is in this hidden season that you are being trained not just to carry a blessing, but to sustain it. Think of how gold is refined. It is placed in fire until the impurities melt away. That is what your waiting has been, a furnace, not to burn you, but to purify you. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every tear has been shaping a faith that storms cannot shake. The waiting has forced you to stop depending on what you can see and lean entirely on the unseen hand of God. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." This is the command hidden in your delay. Do not lean on logic. Do not depend on explanations. Simply trust. Even when you cannot trace His hand, chosen one, you may think your prayers are bouncing back unheard. But the truth is, they are stored in heaven's bowls. They are incense rising before the throne. The timing of their release is not forgotten. It is being perfectly arranged. Your waiting is evidence that what you asked for is too great to be rushed. Some answers require heaven's full orchestration, and until the alignment is complete, you must carry the weight with patience. And yes, it feels heavy. It feels suffocating at times, but even in the heaviness, you are being strengthened. You are being molded into a vessel that will not crack under pressure. You are being prepared to carry blessings that others could not handle. That is why the wait is long. That is why the silence is deep. Because the promise attached to your name is too heavy to be delivered quickly. So instead of cursing the silence, embrace it. Instead of despising the waiting, recognize it as holy ground. Every chosen one is called to wait. Abraham waited. Joseph waited. David waited. Even the Son of God himself moved according to appointed times, not his own desire. Why should your journey be different? The waiting does not mean you are forgotten. It means you are walking the same path as the great ones who came before you. Now, chosen one, I invite you to take a step of faith right here, right now. Write in the comments, "I trust you." These 3 words are not just text on a screen. They are a declaration to heaven and a blow against the darkness. When you type them, you are saying, "Even in delay, I will trust. Even in silence, I will hold on. Even under the weight, I will not let go." This is how you align with heaven in the waiting season. Do not underestimate this act. What you declare with faith, even in small words, shifts things in the spirit. Waiting may be heavy, but trust makes you stronger than the weight you carry. Chosen one, what looked like your greatest disappointments were often your greatest protections. You thought the delay was robbing you, but in truth, it was shielding you. There were traps set in places you prayed to enter. There were snares hidden in opportunities that glittered before your eyes. There were people smiling at you with hidden daggers behind their backs. And so, heaven stepped in, delaying your path, shutting doors, withholding progress not to frustrate you, but to cover you. Understand this clearly. Every pause had purpose. There were contracts you were not meant to sign, because buried in the fine print was destruction. There were relationships you begged God to keep alive. But if He had granted that request, your destiny would have been strangled. There were jobs you applied for, doors you knocked on, ventures you were ready to invest in, yet the silence came. The no came. The delay came. And that delay was the hand of God, moving swiftly, like a shield between you and unseen danger. You will never know the full measure of what God has protected you from. How many times did a delay keep you from being in the wrong place at the wrong time? How many times did a rejection prevent you from entering into agreements that would have drained your soul? How many times did a slow season keep you hidden until the storm passed? The very delay you cursed may have been the intervention that saved your life. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 6, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." That is why you could walk through delay without collapse, because even when you did not understand, God was right there shielding, guarding, and guiding you. Protection does not always look like walls of fire or angels with swords drawn. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like unanswered prayers. Sometimes it looks like a heavy pause that forces you to wait. But in every one of these, the unseen hand of God was steering you away from traps designed to swallow you whole. Chosen one. Think back to seasons where you cried, "Why? God, why not now?" And later you saw truth revealed, people exposed, situation revealed, motives uncovered. Suddenly it became clear why God did not allow it sooner. If you had entered too early, you would have been caught in the storm. If the door had opened when you begged, you would have walked into betrayal. This is why protection often wears the disguise of delay. It is not always easy to accept. In the moment, it feels unfair, even cruel. But God sees what you cannot. He knows the end from the beginning. He knows who is plotting against you. Even when they smile to your face, He knows the traps of the enemy, even when they are dressed as blessings. And because you are His chosen one, He refuses to allow you to stumble into destruction. So, when you find yourself in another season of delay, shift your perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is God withholding from me?" begin to ask, "What is God protecting me from?" The answer may not come right away, but in time, clarity always reveals itself. Delay is not the absence of God, it is the shield of God. It is His mercy stretched out over you, His wisdom guiding you into safety, His love refusing to let you settle for a trap when you were made for a throne. Chosen one, you must understand this truth. Heaven's timing is never late. To you, it feels as though the days drag on endlessly, as if your prayers evaporate into nothingness, as though God has forgotten your name. But hear me, God's clock is not broken. His calendar is not behind. His movements are not delayed by chance or chaos. Every moment is aligned with precision. Every second is intentional. Every delay is carefully calculated so that the unveiling of your destiny will happen at the exact right moment. It is not that God enjoys making you wait. It is that His timing is part of your transformation. To release a blessing too early is to sabotage its purpose. A harvest gathered before its season will spoil. A gift received before maturity will crush the one who carries it. And so, the Father waits until you are strong enough, humble enough, and ready enough to steward the promise. We find in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." These words are not poetic sentiment, they are the blueprint of your life. What you call delay, God calls appointment. What you see as wasted years are actually ordered steps, preparing you for the fullness of what He has planned. Look closely at your journey. Every pause has aligned you with the right people, placed you in the right cities, led you into the right assignments. You may not have recognized it in the moment, but nothing was random. Every meeting, every separation, every turn of events has been synchronized with divine timing. The things you thought were holding you back were actually pushing you forward into alignment with heaven's plan. Do you not see? Chosen one, when others rushed ahead of you, they burned out. When you were forced to wait, you were being preserved. When others settled too quickly, they compromised their callings. When you were delayed, you were being refined. Timing is not punishment, it is preservation of the precious. And now, I want to speak to your heart sincerely. If this message is stirring something deep within you, if you can feel the confirmation of heaven's timing in your spirit, I ask you to help this word reach others like you. There are chosen ones all around the world, feeling lost in delay, questioning their worth, doubting their calling. By simply sharing, by liking, by subscribing, you become part of heaven's voice, echoing across the earth. This is not about numbers or vanity. It is about souls who need to hear that their delay is divine. Think of it this way. Just as someone's obedience brought this message to you in this very moment, your obedience in sharing it could bring life and clarity to another chosen one. You never know whose tears may be dried, whose faith may be rekindled, whose destiny may be restored because you took a small action. That is the power of divine alignment. Even in the digital space, chosen one, timing is everything. Trust that your steps are ordered. Trust that your waiting has purpose. And trust that your obedience, even something as simple as sharing this word, becomes part of God's greater timing for someone else's life. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on time, because you are aligned with His time. Chosen one. Every wilderness is a proving ground. This delay that has wrapped around your life is not empty, it is training. You feel like you are walking through dry places, stripped of comfort, with no clear direction. You look around and see others flourishing, while you are surviving day by day. But wilderness is not abandonment. Wilderness is preparation. The wilderness exposes what is weak in you and strengthens what must endure. It burns away pride, impatience, and illusions of control. It pushes you to the edge of yourself so that you lean fully on God. In this barren place, you learn lessons that prosperity could never teach. You learn that man does not live by bread alone. You learn that your source is not your job, not your connections, not your talent. It is the living God who sustains you. The prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." This verse is your compass in the wilderness. What God has spoken will not fail. It may feel like delay, but the vision carries the weight of certainty. It will come. Chosen one. The wilderness is where warriors are forged. Remember Moses, who spent 40 years in the desert before leading Israel out of bondage. Remember David, who was chased through caves before sitting on the throne. Remember Jesus himself, who faced temptation in the wilderness before his ministry began. Do you see the pattern? The wilderness always precedes the unveiling. This season you are in is sharpening your spirit. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every lonely night is chiseling your character. In the silence, you are being taught obedience. In the lack, you are learning faith. In the hiddenness, humility is being born. None of it is wasted. The wilderness is not punishment, it is investment. Heaven is investing in you, ensuring that when the time comes, you will not only enter destiny, but remain there. And yes, the wilderness is uncomfortable. It strips away everything familiar, leaving you with nothing but dependence on God. But dependence is the very foundation of divine power. You cannot be a chosen one and live on self-reliance. You must be emptied before you can be filled. The wilderness guarantees this process. Now, chosen one, I invite you to make a declaration of faith, even here in your wilderness. Write in the comments the number 444. Do not treat this as coincidence. It is a prophetic act. By typing 444, you are declaring, even in my wilderness, I trust the appointed time, even in delay. I believe the vision will come. Even in silence, I remain steadfast. No, this act is not about superstition, it is about agreement. When you align your words and actions with heaven's truth, you shift the atmosphere around you. You are not just commenting, you are prophesying over your life. You are speaking alignment with divine timing. So stand firm. Chosen one, your wilderness will not last forever. It is temporary, but the strength it builds will last eternally. Trust that every dry season is cultivating in you a spirit that cannot be broken. Soon, you will emerge from this wilderness carrying wisdom, fire, and authority. And when you look back, you will see the wilderness was never empty. It was holy ground. Chosen one, there is something the wilderness reveals that ordinary seasons cannot. Who is truly for you? Delay has a way of exposing the hearts around you. When life is moving fast and blessings are flowing, many will gather close, drawn by the glow of your favor. But when delay arrives, when promises take longer than expected, when success seems paused, when prayers linger unanswered, that is when masks begin to fall. The delay reveals loyalty. Some people only walked with you because they believed your blessing would benefit them. They clapped while the doors opened, but grew silent when the doors closed. They celebrated you in the harvest, but vanished in the famine. And as painful as it feels, this exposure is mercy. For what you cannot see in speed, God makes clear in delay. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, first letter, chapter 15, verse 33, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. This is why delay shakes people loose. If wrong voices stayed close, they would corrupt your faith, poison your vision, and weaken your resolve. God will not allow pretenders to walk with his chosen into destiny. Consider how many names were with you when you started, and how few remain today. Do not grieve those who walked away. If they could leave, they were never meant to stay. Destiny requiert covenant partner, not convenience partners. A covenant friend will stand even when the wait is long, even when the night is silent, even when the promise feels far away. Convenience friends vanish when the glory pauses, because they were only attracted to the shine, not committed to the process. Chosen one. Delay does not only expose others, It also clarifies you. It forces you to see who you listen to, who you lean on, and who truly strengthens your faith. When the crowd thins, you find out where your trust truly lies. And when the voices of men fade, the voice of God becomes clearer. What looks like isolation is actually concentration. God removes the noise, so you can hear His direction without distortion. This is why you must not despise the loss of certain people. Some exits are answers to prayers you did not know how to pray. Some departures are deliverances in disguise. If they had stayed, they would have weighed you down, distracting you from your call. But God, in His mercy, used delay as a filter, sifting out pretenders, separating the genuine from the false. And though it stings, do not mistake the pruning for punishment. A tree that will bear heavy fruit must first lose weak branches. In the same way, you are being pruned of relationships that cannot hold the weight of your destiny. What remains after the pruning is stronger, healthier, and ready to carry abundance. Chosen one. Remember this: the people who remain after the delay are your true circle. They are the ones God has ordained to walk with you into the next chapter. Treasure them, even if they are few. Do not despise the small number. Destiny does not require crowds. It requires covenant. So, when you feel the sting of betrayal, the loneliness of departure, or the silence of absence, lift your eyes. The delay is protecting you from false alliances and preparing you for divine partnerships. What is shaken will fall, but what remains is unshakable. Chosen one. There is a unique test that comes in seasons of delay. It is not the test of enemies rising against you, nor even the test of friends walking away. It is the test of silence. The visions and promises God once whispered so clearly now feel distant, almost faded. You wonder if you misheard Him, if your faith imagined it, if perhaps you were reaching too high. This is the crucible of waiting. Will you hold fast to the vision when there is no evidence in sight? Every dream from heaven must pass through this fire. God does not give visions only to see if you will celebrate them in the moment. They must be refined in the silence. He waits to see whether your faith depends on visible progress or whether you will trust His word alone. It is easy to believe when doors open and signs surround you, but the mark of the chosen is believing when nothing moves. When every external sign contradicts the promise, when all you have left is the memory of His whisper. As the prophet Elijah discovered, God does not always speak in the wind, or the earthquake, or the fire. Sometimes He speaks only in a gentle whisper. That whisper is enough, if you choose to hold it with reverence. For visions tested in silence are visions strengthened for destiny. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." In the silence, fear will try to grow. Doubt will whisper that you misheard. Anxiety will tell you to quit. But remember, you are not abandoned to fear. You have been given power to endure, love to sustain you, and clarity of mind to hold fast to what God has promised. Look at the lives of those who walked before you. Joseph dreamed of leadership, but then found himself in pits and prisons. The silence stretched for years, yet the vision never died. Abraham was promised a son, yet the years passed, and his body aged. Still, he clung to the vision, even when his eyes saw no evidence. David was anointed king, yet fled through caves as a hunted man. The promise seemed buried, but the oil was still alive upon his head. What do they all have in common? Their visions were tested in silence, but silence did not erase the promise. Chosen one, you too must endure this refining. Your wilderness silence is not proof of absence, it is proof of preparation. Heaven is watching how you handle delay. Will you surrender your dream to discouragement? Or will you guard it like treasure until the appointed hour? The enemy would love for you to abandon what God has spoken. He knows he cannot steal the promise itself. But if he can convince you to stop believing, to stop praying, to stop preparing, then the vision will wither in your own hands. That is why this season is critical. Do not let silence deceive you. Silence is not denial, it is training. Every chosen one must become a guardian of vision. You must carry it when no one else sees it. You must nurture it when no one else believes in it. You must protect it when doubt surrounds you like fog. For when the silence finally breaks, and God unveils what He has been shaping, you will see that your faith during the hidden season was the very thing that kept the vision alive. Chosen one, the silence may be long, but it will not be forever. Hold fast to the vision. Guard it as a mother guards a child. Speak life over it daily. Refuse to surrender it to despair, because the moment will come, the appointed time will arrive, and then the world will see what you chose to believe in the dark. Chosen one, the most dangerous moment in your journey is not the day of battle, nor the night of betrayal. It is the silent edge where surrender whispers in your ear. You have carried the promise for so long that your arms feel weak. You have prayed until words dried up. You have waited until your heart grew numb. And in that place, a voice tells you, maybe it's time to quit. Maybe it was never meant to be. This is the battlefield of surrender. But hear me, the temptation to give up is not proof that you are finished. It is proof that you are close. The weight feels heaviest right before it lifts. The night feels darkest just before the dawn breaks. The silence feels endless moments before heaven's trumpet sounds. What you feel right now is not the end, but the tipping point. Mercy stands at the edge of your surrender. If you let go of faith, you lose not because God failed, but because you stopped believing. The enemy knows he cannot erase the promise, so he tries to wear you down until you abandon it yourself. That is why the pressure has intensified, why the silence feels louder, why the waiting feels unbearable, because you are on the threshold of fulfillment. The Apostle Paul reminds us in his letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not." This is heaven's decree to you. Do not faint. Do not let weariness trick you into surrendering what you were born to inherit. Chosen one, you have already endured more than most. You have walked through storms others would have drowned in. You have survived betrayals that could have shattered your spirit. You have carried crosses heavier than what many could imagine. Do not let all of that endurance be wasted by giving up now. Your history proves your strength. Your scars prove your survival. And your waiting proves your faith. Think of the farmer who plants seed into the ground. For a long time, he sees nothing but dirt. Days pass, then weeks, and still there is no evidence of growth. If he were to dig it up in frustration, he would destroy what was silently developing beneath the surface. But if he waits, The appointed moment comes when the seed breaks through the soil and fruit is born. That is what is happening to you, beneath the surface. God has been working, even if you cannot see it. This is the moment where your declaration matters, right at the edge of surrender. You must speak life over your destiny. You must silence the voice of despair with words of faith. I want you to write in the comments, "I will not quit." These 4 words are not casual. They are a sword in your hand. Every time you type them, every time you declare them, you are striking back at the enemy who wants you to faint. You are announcing to heaven, earth, and hell that no matter how long the wait, no matter how heavy the silence, no matter how deep the weariness, you will not surrender your crown. Chosen one, your breakthrough is closer than you think. Hold on. Keep pressing. Keep standing. Because soon, the weight will lift. The dawn will break. And what you almost gave up on will become the very testimony that crowns your life. Chosen one. What you have called delay is often nothing less than divine strategy. Heaven is not stumbling or hesitating. Heaven is planning. While you feel as though your life has been placed on pause, God has been orchestrating moves that you could never imagine. The delay is not random. It is a tactic, a weapon in the hand of the Almighty, designed to strip the enemy of advantage and to elevate your authority when the moment arrives. Think of Israel standing before the Red Sea. To the natural eye, it looked like they were trapped. The water before them, Pharaoh's army behind them. Delay in that moment seemed deadly. But in truth, it was the setup for the miraculous. The waters parted at the last possible second, and the enemy was swallowed in the same path that delivered God's people. That is what divine strategy looks like. Delay that feels like danger, but becomes the stage for glory. The Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Every tongue rising in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the Lord's servants." Delay is one of the ways God fulfills this promise. He slows you down not to weaken you, but to ensure that no weapon of the enemy can reach you before your appointed hour. Chosen one, do you see it now? Delay is strategy. God holds you back while the enemy overplays his hand. He allows darkness to exhaust itself, to reveal its schemes, to expose its weakness. Then, when the enemy believes he has cornered you, heaven shifts the board in one move. And suddenly, what was meant for your destruction becomes your deliverance. This is why you cannot despise delay. It is the secret place where strategies are born. It is the hidden chamber where God designs your victory. You think nothing is happening, but heaven is busy. You think you are wasting time, but heaven is weaving time into a net that will catch every snare set against you. And while this strategy unfolds, you are being equipped. Delay is not only about holding back the enemy, it is about preparing you. God is sharpening your discernment, strengthening your endurance, and enlarging your authority. You are being trained to speak with power, to walk in faith, to carry a mantle that can shift atmospheres. When the delay finally breaks, you will step into battle, not as a wanderer, but as a warrior. Do not forget, even Jesus moved in divine timing, not his own. There were moments when people tried to crown him or kill him, but he said, "My time has not yet come." Delay was divine strategy, protecting the mission until the appointed hour. And if the Son of God himself walked according to heaven's timing, how much more must you trust the strategy of your own delay? Now, I want to pause and speak from my heart. If this revelation is opening your eyes, if you are beginning to see that what you thought was delay is actually divine design, then help me spread this message. Like this word so that it rises above the noise. Share it so another chosen one can see the strategy in their silence. And subscribe, not just to a channel, but to the flow of words heaven is releasing in this hour. You never know whose faith will be preserved, whose hope will be restored, because you chose to carry this word further. Chosen one. Delay is not your enemy. Delay is your ally. It is heaven's strategy to ensure that when you rise unstoppable. And soon, you will look back and thank God, not only for the open doors, but for the closed ones. Not only for the speed, but for the slowness. Not only for the breakthroughs, but for the delays that made you unshakable. Chosen one. You must learn to recognize the subtle ways heaven speaks during seasons of stillness. Even in delay, God is not silent. His voice may not thunder as before, but he leaves signs, whispers, and confirmations along your path. These are prophetic signals meant to remind you that the hand of heaven is still upon you, that your journey has not been forgotten, that your appointed time is still in motion. Pay attention to the patterns. Numbers repeating around you are not coincidence. A phrase you hear in passing stirs your spirit, reminding you of promises long ago. A stranger's words echo what you prayed in secret. A dream surfaces, carrying clarity in the night. These small alignments are heaven's fingerprints, reassuring you that, even in delay, destiny is still unfolding. The prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1, I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. I will look to see what he will say to me, and what answer I am to give to this complaint. This is the posture of the chosen, watching, waiting, listening, even in silence. You are not idle in delay, you are attentive, expecting heaven's signals. Chosen one. Delay often blinds you to the obvious. You think God has abandoned you because the door has not opened. Yet while you are staring at the door, he is sending whispers through windows all around you. The problem is not that God is silent, it is that your eyes are fixed on one outcome, and you miss the signals woven through your everyday life. Consider how Elijah, weary and afraid, expected God to manifest in fire or earthquake. Yet the Lord came instead in a gentle whisper. The signs were not in the dramatic, but in the subtle. So too in your life, the prophetic signs in stillness will rarely arrive with fireworks. They come softly, to test whether your spirit is sensitive enough to recognize them. Sometimes the sign is simply endurance itself. The fact that you are still standing, still breathing, still listening, is itself a sign that grace has not left you. At other times, the sign is provision in small doses, a bill unexpectedly paid, a door slightly cracked, a conversation that brings peace in chaos. These are not random, they are markers along the road, pointing you forward until the great unveiling comes. Chosen one. Do not despise small signs. The enemy will try to convince you they mean nothing. He will say, it's just coincidence. It's just your imagination. But deep in your spirit, you know the difference between chance and confirmation. You know when a whisper carries weight, when a moment bears eternal meaning. Trust that knowing. Prophetic signs in stillness are like stars in the night sky. They may not change the darkness around you, but they remind you that light is still above you. And just as stars guided wise men to the newborn king, so these signs are guiding you step by step to your appointed moment. Lift your eyes. Chosen one, your God has not forgotten you. Watch for the subtle alignments. Listen for the soft whispers. Treasure the prophetic signs that break into your silence, for they are heaven's way of assuring you the delay has meaning. The promise is alive, and the fulfillment is drawing near. Chosen one, there comes a moment when heaven's clock strikes, and everything shifts at once. For so long, you have walked under the shadow of delay. You have waited, prayed, endured, and questioned. Days blended into months, months into years, and still the promise tarried. But then suddenly the atmosphere changes. What was locked begins to open. What was withheld is released. What was slow becomes swift. This is the breaking of delay. You must understand this truth. God's timing is rarely gradual. It is often sudden, just as a seed presses through soil in a moment after months of hidden growth. So too destiny bursts forth when the appointed time arrives. One encounter, one phone call, one opportunity, one shift, and suddenly you are standing in the fulfillment of what you once only dreamed. It was written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 22, "When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen swiftly." These words are your anchor now. Swiftly, suddenly, without warning. Delay ends, and the appointed time arrives. Chosen one, you may not see it coming, but you will feel it. The weight of delay begins to lift. The heaviness of unanswered prayers begins to break, and the very doors that resisted you swing wide, as though they were never shut. Do not mistake this as luck or coincidence. This is divine timing. Heaven itself has declared, "Now, N." But this sudden release is not random. It comes after the testing, after the wilderness, after the silence, after the pruning. You endured because you were being shaped to carry what is now being released. Had it come earlier, it would have overwhelmed you. Now, it will crown you, chosen one. When the breaking of delay comes, it will not only affect you, it will ripple outward into your family, your community, your generation. The blessings will multiply, because what was stored during the delay is now being poured out in abundance. Years that seemed wasted are redeemed in moments. Doors that seemed permanently shut open in sequence, one after another. Delay collapses, and destiny rushes in. This is why you must not faint in the waiting, because when the moment comes, you will see that not a single day was wasted. Every tear watered the soil. Every prayer laid the foundation. Every disappointment carved space for greater fulfillment. And now, suddenly, the divine clock has struck your hour. Chosen one, I want you to take a bold step of faith right now. Write in the comments the number 555. Do not underestimate this act. It is not about superstition, it is about alignment. By declaring 555, you are saying, I believe the appointed time has arrived. I stand ready for sudden fulfillment. I agree with heaven's timing over my life. Allo. This prophetic act matters because it connects your faith to action. It is one thing to hope silently. It is another to declare openly. When you write it, you are stamping your agreement with heaven's calendar. You are saying, I will no longer live as though I am delayed. I will live as though my appointed time is here. Allu, chosen one. Take courage. The delay has broken. The appointed time is here. Step into it with boldness. For what you have carried in hope, you will now carry in reality. Heaven's clock has struck, and it strikes for you. Chosen one. What you carry now is heavier than what you began with. For the delay has not only tested you, it has increased you. The mantle upon your life after waiting is richer, vitia, and far more potent than it could have been if you had received it without the wilderness. What you endured has not diminished you, it has enlarged your capacity. The anointing is never given cheaply. It is pressed out through hardship, forged in silence, and sealed in fire. The years of waiting, the nights of tears, the seasons of disappointment, all of it was oil being crushed out of your spirit. You thought you were losing, but you were being filled. You thought you were emptying, but you were being prepared to overflow. The Apostle Peter reminds us in his first letter, chapter 5, verse 10, and the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong, firm and steadfast. Do you see it? After suffering comes strength. After waiting comes restoration. After delay comes the mantle. Chosen one. When you step into destiny now, you do not step lightly. You carry authority. The wilderness has made you unshakable. Silence has made you discerning. Delay has made you steadfast. Where others tremble, you will stand. Where others compromise, you will endure. Where others faint, you will rise. Think of David before the crown touched his head. The cave shaped his character. Think of Joseph before the throne was his. The prison stretched his faith. Think of Esther before she stepped into royalty. She endured seasons of obscurity and preparation. In every case, delay was not wasted. It built a mantle that no enemy could strip away. Chosen one. The mantle you carry now is different. It is not flashy. It is unshakable. It does not rest on emotion. It rests on endurance. You do not carry shallow faith. You carry tested faith. This is why the enemy fears you more now than before. He hoped the delay would destroy you, but instead it produced an anointing that is indestructible. And this mantle is not only for you, it is for those you are called to lead, inspire, and intercede for. Delay gave you compassion. You could not have gained otherwise. Because you have known loneliness, you can now comfort the lonely. Because you have known lack, you can now guide others to provision. Because you have walked through silence, you can now encourage those who feel forgotten. This mantle is not just personal, it is generational. Understand this, the mantle is proof that your waiting was not wasted. Every moment of delay was a deposit. Every season of endurance was a layer of strength. Every unanswered prayer was an echo shaping your resolve. And now, you walk clothed in what could only be birthed in the waiting room of destiny. So, carry it with reverence. Chosen one, do not despise the scars, they are evidence of oil. Do not resent the years, they are evidence of strength. Do not question the delay, It is evidence of your mantle. What you now hold could only be formed by fire. And because of it, you are ready to step into the fullness of your calling. Chosen one, what was once hidden from you is now being unveiled. The strange delay that clouded your path was never meant to erase your purpose. It was meant to sharpen it, to bring it into perfect clarity. And now, as the veil lifts, you begin to see the outline of what God was preparing all along. Every twist, every pause, every disappointment begins to make sense in the light of revelation. Purpose is not always revealed in comfort. More often, it is revealed in struggle. When you lost what you thought you needed, you discovered who you truly are. When people walked away, you realized that your strength did not come from their approval. When doors closed, you found the courage to walk paths no one else dared to take. Delay has been the canvas on which God painted your true assignment. The Apostle Paul declares in his letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." This is not theory, it is reality in your life. The all things includes the delays, the losses, the silent seasons. Each piece is woven into the tapestry of your calling. Chosen one, the unveiling of purpose is often quiet at first. It is a whisper in your spirit, a sudden clarity in your mind, a sense that what once felt meaningless now carries weight. What used to frustrate you now fuels you. What once looked like wasted years now looks like preparation. This is how God unveils destiny, not in a flash of lightning, but in a steady illumination that reveals what has always been written over your life. Think of Moses, raised in Pharaoh's palace, yet hidden in the desert for 40 years. At the time, he thought his life was over, his purpose buried in the sand. But when the burning bush blazed before him, everything became clear. The wilderness was training for the mission. So it is with you. The unveiling comes, and suddenly the pieces connect. The pain, the loss, the endurance, it was all shaping you for this moment. Chosen one, your purpose is not small. It is not accidental. It is not fragile. It is anchored in eternity. The delay was not a detour, it was a forge. You are stepping now into assignments that once seemed beyond your reach, but they are yours because you have been prepared. Do not doubt yourself. Do not question your worth. What God unveils, He also equips. And remember, purpose is not about your comfort. It is about His kingdom. The unveiling may draw you into places that challenge you, stretch you, even scare you. But the same God who unveiled your calling will empower you to walk it out. The delay was never meant to stop you. It was meant to ensure you are unshakable when you begin. Chosen one, walk boldly now. Your purpose is unfolding, and it bears the fingerprints of heaven. Carry it with humility, but also with confidence. What was once concealed is now revealed, and you will no longer live in the shadow of confusion. You will walk in the light of clarity, strength, and divine assignment. Chosen one, even in the moment of breakthrough, the testing does not end. When the doors finally open, when the delay breaks, when blessings begin to flow, heaven still watches to see where your heart rests. The danger of blessing is that it can steal your gaze from the one who gave it. This is why God allows a final sifting to prove that your loyalty is to Him, not to what He places in your hand. Think of Israel as they stepped out of Egypt with wealth, freedom, and promise. Yet, in the wilderness, their hearts wandered. They built idols, forgetting the God who delivered them. Blessings in the wrong heart can become snares. That is why the final test always comes at the threshold of abundance. Will you cling to God, or will you cling to the gift? The prophet Jeremiah declares in chapter 17, verse 7, "Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him." Notice it does not say, "Blessed is the one who trusts in miracles, or blessings, or opportunities." The blessing is reserved for those whose confidence remains in God alone. Chosen one, you have endured too much to fail this final sifting. You did not survive years of silence just to lose focus when blessings appear. You did not carry your vision through wilderness and delay just to abandon the giver for the gift. The testing continues, but now it shifts. Heaven asks you, "Do you love me more than these?" This is where many stumble. They embrace the breakthrough, but neglect the relationship. They enjoy the crown, but forget the cross. But you, chosen one, are different. You were not refined in fire for nothing. You were not tested in waiting only to surrender to comfort now. The final sifting is your chance to prove that the years of waiting made you unshakable. And let me speak to you with sincerity. If this word is piercing your heart, I ask you to take a moment of obedience. Like this message, if it resonates within you, share it with others who may be stepping into their own breakthrough, lest they stumble in the same test. Leave a comment below. Even a simple declaration of faith to mark your agreement with heaven, and subscribe, not just for content, but to remain connected to the continual flow of words that remind you of your calling. Your action here is more than digital. It is spiritual alignment. It is your way of saying, "I will not fail in the final sifting. I choose God above the blessing." One, chosen one. Breakthrough is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of responsibility. You will carry influence, and others will watch how you handle it. Will they see a chosen one who forgets God in the glow of success, or one who glorifies him even more in victory? Your choice will echo far beyond yourself. This is why the final sifting matters. Heaven is not impressed by how loud you praise in breakthrough. Heaven looks at how steadfast your loyalty remains when abundance surrounds you. Your true crown is not the blessing itself. It is the unwavering faith that clings to God through delay, through breakthrough, through every season beyond. So, stand firm. Chosen one. The final sifting may be subtle, but it is sacred. Prove with your heart, your words, and your actions that you were never chasing blessings, you were chasing Him. Chosen one. The crown that waits on the other side of delay is not ordinary. It is not a trinket of human recognition or a fleeting moment of applause. It is the mark of glory bestowed only upon those who endured faithfully, who carried their cross through wilderness, silence, and testing, and yet did not surrender. Every pause, every strange delay, every night you cried without answer, all of it was shaping you for this very crown. Crowns are not given cheaply. They are earned in the hidden places where no one applauds you. They are forged in moments when you chose obedience over comfort, when you clung to faith, even when your prayers echoed back in silence. This is why your journey has been longer, why the delay has been stranger, why the testing has been heavier than most, because the crown set aside for you carries eternal weight. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 65, verse 11. You crown the year with your bounty, and your carts overflow with abundance. This is not just poetry, it is prophecy. God crowns not only the year, but the faithful one who endured the years of delay. And when he crowns with abundance overflow that cannot be contained. Chosen one. Every tear you shed became jewels in your crown. Every prayer you whispered in the dark became gold woven into its frame. Every sacrifice you made when no one understood became the weight that gives the crown its brilliance. You thought your waiting was wasted, but heaven was crafting your reward in secret. The crown after delay is not just for display, it is for assignment. It symbolizes authority. It signifies that you now carry the right to speak, to lead, to shift atmospheres, to stand where others fall. The delay ensured you would not wear it lightly. You know what it cost you. You know the weight of endurance. That is why, when the crown rests on your head, you will not boast in yourself. You will glorify the one who carried you through. Do not mistake this crown for mere reward. It is responsibility. With it comes greater influence, greater battles, and greater impact. But you are ready, because the delay forged you into someone who cannot be shaken. The same delay that made you weep also made you wise. The same silence that felt unbearable gave you strength to endure storms. The same wilderness that stripped you bare clothed you now with power. Chosen one. The beauty of this crown is that it proves delay was never denial. If God meant to reject you, He would not have refined you. If He intended to abandon you, He would not have invested in you. Every strange pause was evidence that you were being marked, that heaven had set aside something too valuable to be rushed. And now, as you step into this season, you will feel the shift. The heaviness that clung to you is replaced with glory. The confusion that clouded you is replaced with clarity. The shame that haunted you is replaced with honor. For every year of waiting, there is a measure of abundance. For every night of weeping, there is a dawn of joy. For every strange delay, there is a crown that testifies, you were chosen, you endured, you prevailed. Carry it humbly, but carry it boldly. Your crown is not fragile, it is eternal. It is the mark of one who has walked through fire and emerged refined, not destroyed. It is the seal of destiny, resting upon your life as proof that you are indeed God's chosen one, crowned after the delay. Chosen one. Your life itself is becoming the testimony that delay was never denial. Every strange pause, every season of silence, every wilderness path, all of it now stands as proof that divine timing governs your journey. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are living evidence that heaven holds the clock. And when the hour strikes, no power of man or darkness can prevent your arrival. You see now that the delays which once frustrated you were in fact the very signs of your chosenness. God does not delay those He has abandoned. He delays those He is preparing, shaping, and setting apart. The pauses were not because you were unworthy, but because you were destined for more than you imagined. Delay was the stage, arrival is the unveiling. Chosen one. Stand tall in this revelation. Your journey has been marked not by wasted time, but by divine investment. What seemed like emptiness was the soil where roots of strength went deep. What looked like silence was the classroom where your ears were tuned to heaven's whisper. Every detour, every pause, every tear, none of it slipped outside God's gaze. You are walking proof that delay is not evidence of rejection, but of refinement. And now, as the page turns, your life will radiate a testimony stronger than words, carrying hope to those still struggling in their waiting. Chosen one. The unveiling of divine timing is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a greater one. Your endurance has carved a path for others. Your scars will become maps for those still lost in their wilderness. You will carry not just blessing, but authority. Not just fulfillment, but guidance for others to see. Heaven's purpose in you is larger than your dreams. It is generational, eternal, and unstoppable. Let this truth anchor you. The strange delay was heaven's signature, and your arrival is heaven's announcement. Destiny has not only begun, it is alive in you. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9, in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Your plans may have seemed stalled, but His steps never faltered. Each delay was His hand redirecting, ensuring that when you finally stood in your purpose, it was not by chance, but by divine orchestration. Chosen one. The proof is not in what you lost, but in what you gained through the waiting. You gained endurance that cannot be shaken. You gained wisdom that cannot be stolen. You gained faith that cannot be broken. You walk now not as someone unsure of their worth, but as one whose very scars preach of God's faithfulness. The testimony of your life will speak to others who are still waiting. They will look at you and know. Delay does not mean defeat. They will see your journey and realize. Silence does not mean abandonment. They will hear your story and understand. God's timing is perfect. Even when it feels painful, you will become a living letter, written not with ink, but with endurance, declaring to the world that heaven's timing is real. And so, chosen one, embrace this identity. You are no longer defined by the waiting, you are defined by what was birthed through it. The crown upon your life is not only for you, but for those who will come after you. Your testimony will light their path, just as others' testimonies once gave you strength to continue. Delay was the furnace, but arrival is the fire that will now burn through generations. You are not the same as when you began. You are marked, sealed, and unveiled as proof that divine timing is not only theory but reality. Walking in flesh and blood, you, chosen one, before this message closes, let me speak from the depths of my spirit to yours. You did not find these words by accident. Heaven has been guiding you, step by step, through every section, confirming again and again that your delay was divine. And now, you stand at the threshold of purpose, crowned with endurance, filled with wisdom, and ready to walk into all that has been prepared for you. This moment is holy. It is the sealing of what heaven has whispered to you all along. You are chosen, and your time has arrived. If these words have stirred your heart, I invite you gently, but with sincerity, to take one more step of faith. Like this message, not just as an action on a screen, but as a declaration that it spoke life into you. Share it, so that others wandering in delay may find the same hope that has just been reignited within you. Leave a comment. Your words could be the very confirmation another chosen one needs to keep going. And subscribe, not merely to follow content, but to remain connected to a flow of prophetic encouragement that will continue to sustain your journey. Chosen one. You are not ordinary. You were never forgotten. You are proof that God's timing is perfect. That delay is not denial, and that destiny cannot be erased. Let the world see through your testimony that heaven's hand is real, unshakable, and unstoppable. And as you step forward, remember this truth: you are crowned, you are chosen, and you are exactly on time.